Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Emory Jones has decided to transfer out of the University of Florida. I was quite frankly surprised that he stayed with the departure of Dan Mullen and incoming Billy Napier, especially with kind of
No, the reason to be surprised is Richardson is the better quarterback. I think.
I think I agree. I think Anthony Richardson not only is the better quarterback, but I think he's the younger quarterback and he has the more tools to be successful. Anthony Richardson low-key reminds me of Cam Newton with that body. I mean, he is very big, he's very mobile, and he has a very strong arm. Just decision-making, accuracy has kind of been Anthony Richardson's Achilles heel, but I think he has a much higher ceiling and quite frankly might just be the better quarterback.
I think he was better this year, in my opinion. Like when Anthony Richardson, I feel like he should have been playing more, and I don't think the team was good, and that didn't help either of them.
There was
But
a
I did
couple
always feel like he was
mismanagements.
better.
I think Anthony Richardson should have gotten more work, especially as that season kind of trended downwards. I feel like you'd want to go get some younger guys, some more playing time to build up to next year, especially for Dan Mullen's case, where it's like you probably are going to get fired, so you might as well show that you have some young guys to maybe save your job in the future, show that the program has some sort of future. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. I think he mismanaged it with Dameon Pierce, quite frankly, too. As I watched Dameon Pierce's film for like the NFL draft, like, this dude's a stud. And he just should have gotten weight. He should have been a guy getting 20 plus touches a game, and it just didn't happen. I think that was another brutal mismanagement by Dan Mullen.
Yeah, this was a team I just had no clue. I thought Emory Jones would be better. I liked Dan Mullen better, and Dan Mullen was a joke this year, but
here's my hot take though. Dan Mullen's always seemed to figure it out with quarterbacks, even going back to his Mississippi State days. And it's not like the most talented quarterbacks. He's always just been able to develop good quarterbacks in his system. Is it possible that both Emory Jones and Richardson are just, quite frankly, not that good, and maybe Jack Miller has a chance to be the starting quarterback for Florida Gators in 2022?
Well, I mean, maybe, but I don't know that like anyone was doing a good job at Florida. I don't think anything was running well. And I think Dan Mullen had a huge hand in that because they weren't talented enough. And
I feel like they're decent.
He perhaps, well, they didn't recruit well enough to like win in the SEC. I mean, they weren't up with the big dogs generally. Dan Mullen would go on his little rants. I don't recruit in season.
That was ridiculous.
Well, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, and all those, they all do. So maybe your method isn't the best. So I don't think he was doing enough. And what he was doing was flip flopping the quarterbacks. Neither of them really got an honest shot because they were flipping back and forth, not like on a schedule. It was like, Emory Jones threw a pick.
Yes,
Richardson's turn. Richardson throws a pick. Emory Jones' turn, and it's like seems like not a good way.
That never works. I've never seen the quarterback carousel where it's like, oh, we're gonna rotate drives every 2 drives or whatever.
Yeah,
that never works.
I don't mind. I don't actually mind if it's a schedule, but I don't think you should be doing it. I think it's way worse to do it based on performance.
If you hate,
that's where you're wrong. Like I think
when does it work?
You have
when does that
pre-planned.
When does it ever work?
No, it frankly worked a little bit at Michigan, but
that was more utility. That wasn't like JJ.
Yeah, but that's because it was a plan. It was a schedule.
In fact, you could argue that didn't work because then JJ comes in and fumbles the ball. We lose the game. I think that didn't really work that well.
No, I don't know about that.
And then there's plenty of like when you have to go with 2 quarterback system, that means both quarterbacks, quite frankly, stink.
I agree. I don't think you want to be doing a system, but I think if you were to be doing a 2 quarterback rotation, I think it's better to do it on a schedule. Like they get a certain number of drives and not do it on performance because then you're just chasing your tail a little bit.
So 2 things I want to get into. 1, potential landing spots for Emory Jones. But before I want to do that, without getting too much into a Florida Gators 2022 preview, I want to talk about a little bit like who might be the starter at Florida. I personally think it should be Anthony Richardson, and here's why. I think the Florida Gators have potential to have an elite running game. I'm very, very excited about the running backs in that room. DeMarcus Bowman, Lorenzo Lingard, two former 5-star recruits. DeMarcus Bowman being one of the best recruits in the country, comes over from Clemson. Lorenzo Lingard too. Guys who haven't really found their footing in the college football scene, but are both very talented. And you pair him up with Anthony Richardson, who's a phenomenal athlete and runner of the football. I think that's kind of where you want to lean to if you're Billy Napier. So I would expect Anthony Richardson to come out and be the starter for the Florida Gators in 2022. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know about Jack Mill. I mean, you can't know because they've had such good quarterback play at Ohio State. So it's like, well, he came in. Joe Burrow didn't start either, but they've had starts. That's a deep room.
I wonder why he came to Florida, because that was a loaded quarterback. Like Emory Jones, I think you might have thought Emory Jones was going to transfer, but
he might just think he's that guy. Like,
and he might
thought he was. Yeah, well, again, but that's not like a meaning, because sometimes those Ohio State kids think they're like gonna come down and dominate. And
I wonder if he had any talks with Billy Napier and maybe like a fresh start.
He must have. There must have been something, but I can't imagine Billy Napier promised him the job or said like.
And especially looking at what Billy Napier did at Louisiana, like he likes the mobile quarterbacks. Lewis was a guy that was able to extend plays. I think Anthony Richardson in a similar manner, but probably just simply more talented, bigger, stronger, maybe just faster too, better arm talent than Levi Lewis.
And it's proven a little bit. Like he really wasn't terrible last year.
Yeah, he flashes, big time flashes.
I think if they gave him a better shot, he would have had a better chance than.
And I think they'll want to lean on that run game again. The Florida Gators have a running back who is a true freshman coming over to Florida too, following Billy Napier, who is really good.
Yeah.
So it's a loaded running.
I mean, we'll see. Withholding my disagreements on your philosophy of the transfer market's like fertile with great players, because I think in a lot of cases transfers are transferring maybe because they think they're better than they are.
Well, this guy's in case he's transferring just because he wants to stay with the coach. He ran for 800 yards as a true freshman.
Fine, but the two headliners you listed bounced out of their past schools, and they might be very good, but it's like Miami is not the best team in the world, and neither is Clemson at the running back spot since Etienne. So
yeah, DeMarcus Bowman only
if you're bouncing, like, we'll see. I don't know that means like you're going to get this elite running back room as much as you think.
But I think it's just a deep running back room. Like they got a lot of guys who could be breakouts, and Malik Davis as well. Like was very good in his limited touches in the Florida Gators offense too. Second of all, potential landing spots for Emory Jones. Do you think he stays? I immediately, when I saw the transfer, I think Missouri. I know Tyrone Hooper, a linebacker from Florida, who I like a lot, who flashed in that bowl game before getting kicked out. He goes to Missouri. I wonder if Emory Jones might follow him there. They've also had a few guys transfer to UCF. What potential?
That's what makes sense to me is the UCF move.
Yep, it does.
Because if he goes to Missouri now, it's a little late to be going to a big premier school.
Yeah.
And he's not like Emory Jones lit it up. So it's not like he comes in as like you owe him this job or he commands the job. I don't think he's there. I don't think the Missouri quarterback room's loaded, but
yes.
I don't think he can just step in and dominate like athletically at that level, because it is the SEC and it's not a talented team. So you probably want a guy who you're comfortable with. And in the fact that he's transferring so late in this process, like spring's basically over, or not basically,
starting in mid
by the time he ends up where he ends up, unless it happens,
it'll be summer. He'll transfer him for the summer.
So like, I don't know that. I don't think he's going to a Power 5. I think UCF makes sense, like a South Florida, something like that.
The tight end Gamble, I believe, transferred to UCF as well, and I think it makes a lot of sense because I think they're have question marks about quarterback.
I mean, that's what Gus Malzahn does. He always has runners throughout his career.
A good fit. It's a really good fit.
I think UCF is the. I think if he steps into a Virginia Tech, a UNC, a Mizzou, like those schools are good enough and deep enough where he doesn't comfortably start. I don't think. I mean, UCF just lost Dylan Gabriel, who's their guy, and I don't know how hard they'd been recruiting the room.
No, it's not that good. The kid at UCF wasn't, and then Joey Gatewood, I think, is also transferring out. So it's a pretty barren quarterback room.
Oh, yeah. So But I just don't see him starting at a UN. I don't see him starting at a solid Power 5 school. Maybe like a Syracuse or something, like a low-level ACC.
They just got Dan Villari.
Well, I'm not saying so. Yeah, they.
Yeah, no,
not that I.
kidding.
Not that
yeah,
should stop
UCF
him,
I think might be the best fit. I actually wouldn't be surprised if that's where he goes because again, I think you said it best. His athleticism will be more effective in a non-Power 5 conference when if he's trying to shake a linebacker.
And he's not a premier athlete, to be honest. I don't think he's like.
I think he's a very good runner, but that's about.
Well, compared to who? It's like, yeah, he's good, but I don't think he is. Or who was the Greg Marshall on Auburn? He's not like that. Like somebody who was really dynamic. I think his legs are a tool, but I don't think he is in the league of the Cam Newtons, the Lamars, the guys.
But those guys are Heisman Trophy winners. There can definitely be a middle ground, and I think I think we're agreeing. I think we're just running around each other. I don't
think we are.
I think his legs will be I think his legs will be much more effective in a non-Power 5 conference.
Well, that's a sort of a critical comment on his athleticism to an extent.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that's saying well, it works in the smaller talent pools, but it's not like he was killing it running this year at Florida. I mean, he had 750 yards. That's solid, but it's like
5.5 yards a carry. Like I thought he was all right. Again, he's not that good. I think we can both agree on that. I don't think Florida, if anything, Florida's just missing out on a guy who's been there this will be his 5th year in that program. I know a lot of the guys like him. He's a leader in the program.
Yeah, but does it matter if it's a 5th year but a new coach? I feel like it maybe matters less.
It might
just because it's a new system.
That's a good question to ask you. How concerned are you if you're a Florida Gator fan?
I don't think this year is going to be great. I think Dan Mullen left him in a horrible spot. But it's like you're starting over with a new coach. Like,
yeah.
Do I think Billy Napier is going to turn it around quickly like Urban Meyer? No. But I think you have hope for the future because you needed to make the change.
To be quite frank, I view it as a little bit more of like the Cade McNamara, JJ McCarthy situation where I just if I'm a Florida Gator fan, I'm not necessarily happy to see him go, but I want Anthony Richardson to start because I think he has a way higher ceiling and quite frankly is probably the better player and I don't want it to be up for discussion. Like I like Cade McNamara, but I also don't want it to be a quarterback competition. I also don't want to see Cade McNamara give 1 snaps. Even if I like him, like maybe I would want him to stay, but like I'd much rather have him transfer to go to another school where he can start and find his own success. But then you can get the young gun who I think can bring back the program. Anthony Richardson has a way better shot at bringing back the Florida Gators program than Emory Jones does with 1 more year of eligibility. You have 2-3 more years of eligibility with Anthony Richardson. I think
seemingly a better talent.
Yep.
Based on this
more tools at least. Yeah. Like this dude has all the tools to be really good. So Emory Jones transfers. I think the bigger story is just where is he going to end up. I don't think it's that big of a story for the Florida Gators. I think Anthony Richardson is the guy. I want to see him play for the Florida Gators. I think he's the more talented dude. If I'm a Florida Gators fan, I want to see Anthony Richardson on the field instead of Emory Jones. The bigger story is where is he going to end up? Because if he goes to a non-Power 5 team, like he'll be one of the better quarterbacks out of the non-Power 5 schools. If he goes through UCF, he makes them way, way better. Even if he goes to like a Virginia Tech or Missouri, like I think he could have a chance to make that team better because of how weak that quarterback room is. He's going to be a guy to monitor because he has played decent football at the Power 5 level. I think he's got a lot of tools to use, and we'll be seeing where he ends up.
Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see him. I don't see him transforming a team. I just think it's like he ends up at Virginia Tech. He maybe get marginally better play.
He could transform, and then 100%.
Again, I agree with you, but that doesn't shake up the landscape that much.
Well, for UCF, it might. We have non-Power 5.
For UCF, it does. It does shake it up for UCF, but that is not the landscape.
Get excited.
You just don't get. You don't really get the game. I don't know what to say.
All right, y'all. Appreciate you guys listening. Feel free to like, subscribe to the channel. You guys have shown just a ton of great support to the channel. We appreciate it. And we'll be back with more. I think we'll be doing some more NFL draft content as the NFL draft inches closer. Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.